Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Gainesville Tuesday meeting at the Cade. Please do silence your cell phones, and if you're watching on YouTube, please register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. Please join me in welcoming Tom Collette to lead us in song and pledge.
Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody. I wasn't looking at you, Craig. I'm looking beyond you. Sorry about that. I thought we'd sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Are you ready? My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Now please join me as we pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For our invocation today, Ernie Hall.
Oh, thank you. That wasn't loud enough, but that's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I figure I'm a New Yorker. Who needs to hear me through a mic? I usually got a pretty loud voice as it is. You know, my wife and I celebrate 45 years of marriage this year. And I will tell you that, thank you, 90% of being married is just yelling, "What?" from the other room. What? Let us pray. God of the universe, since we are not conscious enough to fathom your ebb and flow, help us then to bring our best efforts to what we can know, to love our friends and family, to treat our employees and fellow workers fairly, to seek justice, to help those in need, to be the best that we can be, and to live by the four-way test of all the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Lord, bless our time together today, we pray. Amen.
You may be seated momentarily. Wilbur, you taking the microphone around? If you're a guest or visiting Rotarian, remain standing.
We'll trade today.
We'll trade.
We'll trade.
Yeah, you go out in the audience for once.
Go out today.
With the guests.
Me first? Wow. How long do I get to talk? Anyway, Connie and Bob Crane greet you from Iowa City, Iowa.
Hello, my name is Chris Camps. I'm from the Monday Club of Rotary Club of Greater Gainesville. I'm the Sergeant at Arms and just had some free time these past couple of Tuesdays. Wanted to come visit everybody.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Atria. I'm always singing the praises of this group to friends, and I finally brought one to prove that I have friends. This is Amy Trask.
Okay.
Felix Haynes, visiting Rotarian from Plant City, Florida, but I'm looking for a club here in Gainesville. We've moved to Gainesville and looking forward to continuing in Rotary after 45 years, something like that.
Good day, fellow Rotarians. Colin Burrows here. I'd like to introduce my colleague who was on the faculty at the UF Small Animal Hospital with me for many years, Gary Errolson. Welcome, Gary.
Welcome to all. It is the first Tuesday of the month, so what do we do on the first Tuesday? Birthdays! If you're present with us, bring your dollar up to Ryan here at the front table. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll bring it next week to us. Here are the birthdays for the wonderful month of March. Kevin Amati. You can applaud if you want. I heard one. Cole Barnett. John Bruner. Pam Carpenter. Eric Godet. Ernest Hall. John Jopling. Colleen Keene. Kirk Klein. Mark Landman. Frank Mason. Ken Mears. Gabe Nosa. TJ Pache. Anthony Salzman. John Shirt. Ryan Thompson. His birthday is the 8th, this Saturday. Helen Warren and Victoria Watson, who had a birthday on March 10th coming up. Whose birthday is today? I see one. There it is. Colleen Keene's birthday is actually today. So let's sing happy birthday to all of our fellow Rotarians. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Happy birthday.
And now please welcome John Gregory to the podium for a poem.
Come on now, everybody be happy. It's time for some Mardi Gras magic from John.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is about the Wild Game Feast.
Uh-oh, wait a minute.
Are you ready?
No. What?
You asked for it.
What happened? What happened? Oh, there it is. All right, this one is called Wild Game Feast Flies. Jason gets fresh meat in a way. That seems mighty strange, some folks say. Shank watches the sky, because where buzzards fly, he knows it's a dead giveaway. I wonder if you'll ever hear about our suing Budweiser this year. The lawyer is quick. Francaire has quick wit. The trial is called A Case of Beer. Greg Young got to the feast and ate first. The meat was fed till he burst. Frog legs and ducks and things that clucks. But the sausage was truly the worst. I'm a social drinker, West claimed well high. If he doesn't have a drink, he'll die. The feast makes you think when somebody says, I'll have a drink. You make sense, so shall I. So come on, come all. Show the place that your heart is in. The chef, as you know, is a great wild game artisan. No one cares what you do. Craig Carter, not even you. Republican or Democrat, the feast is bipartisan. Have a great feast.
Up first with an announcement today, Wilbur Holloway.
Hey, y'all. Okay, we're down to it. If anybody needs raffle tickets, please see me. I was notified by one of our members that his credit card did not get charged. If you guys that have bought tickets could please look at your credit card statements to make sure. If you are watching online, my number is 352-359-5677. Send me a text and we will work out something about getting you tickets. Also, you can email me at bike_surf53@hotmail.com. Let's have a great feast. Thank you.
And now joining us at the podium, Matthew Brady.
Thank you. Excuse me there. Wow. And I'm not talking about the poem. Just kidding. Thank you for leaving me out on that, by the way. But seriously, wow, we've had 2 fantastic work days. Fellow Rotarians, volunteers, members from our grant recipients, tremendous turnout. Things are well on track. We've got a great forecast of weather this week. We just want to get across the finish line. We want to get into that end zone and make that significant impact that we're ready to make. You should have saw an email from me this week. We still have a few very awesome opportunities to serve the day of the feast. Please look at that email. Please reach out to me. There's a handful of things there. We're going to hear from one of the 3 grant recipients today. Reminder, Girls Place, Alachua County Veterans Memorial Committee, and our speaker today talking about the Gainesville Catholic Charities. So she herself has signed up. She's going to be part of that team with Mr. Cousins and Wilbur, and they're looking for other great salespeople to be able to stand out there and bring on the sales of the raffle tickets to the finish line. And so, again, there's other opportunities. Just please sign up if you can. When you're there, thank a volunteer, your fellow volunteers. Be proud of yourself and the work that you've done so far, and let's support these great grant recipients and do what we do as Rotarians and service above self and do wonderful work in our community. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. And now please join me in welcoming our president, Brian Thompson.
Good afternoon. Welcome, Rotarians and guests. Right after the meeting, we have an opportunity to help load the chairs. If you have a few minutes, if you could just stick around, need to get those loaded up and over to the feast site. Appreciate everybody that's able to help with that. Want to send out a thank you to those that made nominations for the district awards. The Brent Williams and Al Watson, a couple of you stepped up and really appreciate you making those nominations. Very deserving members in our club. And with that, I would like to invite Marie Collins to introduce today's speaker. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce Laurie Porter. She's the Development Director with Catholic Charities. She's also a great friend, and she is the wheel of Catholic Charities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marie. First of all, I want to tell you how honored I am to be here today. Catholic Charities and the Rotary, our missions align very nicely together because we believe sort of the same thing you do. That service above self. That's kind of at the heart and the meat and the potatoes of what Catholic Charities does. The other kind of reasons I'm here so happy to be here today is, first of all, we are one of the recipients of this year's Wild Game Feast, and the funds raised will be used to help us put in a new walk-in freezer and cooler in our pantry. That's going to help a lot of people because we get fresh meat, things like that from the USDA. Now having a nice, reliable freezer to put it in will help us be able to pass that out to people when they come to our pantry. On average, our pantry sees about 100 people a day, and those are people who are coming to us for supplementary food. So we don't have a free-for-all where you can come in every single day and get food. You can come in once a month and you get 3 days worth of food. It's meant to help bridge that gap between when some of the social services that you can get or your paycheck, to bridge that gap in that time when it gets to be a struggle. The other reason I'm here is because I guess it's about 13 years ago now, the Rotary also had a Wild Game Feast, and we were the beneficiaries of that. What you gave us that time was what we call our Rotary Room. It was at that time a blank warehouse space. And around that time, United Way, who had started with the Weekend Hunger Backpack program, had decided it was getting too big for them to be able to actually facilitate it. So they asked us to take that program on. So the first couple of years we were doing it, Our volunteers were coming in and packing food for about 800 kids in a warehouse with no heating, no air conditioning. And let me tell you, when it's like April and we're packing those backpacks, it's a big job in the first place, but it was very difficult when people just sweat pouring. So you guys allowed us to finish it off. We put installation in, we put the ceiling in. We basically took a bare area and turned it into a place where now people could go in and pack in comfort. So thank you very much. I'm very appreciative of that. Now I'm going to you watch a little video that we have that I think is going to speak more to the heart of what we do and give you a good idea. And then afterwards, I'll be happy to answer some questions, plus go over a little bit more details about Catholic Charities. Being poor is a full-time job. It's living in the crisis of the moment all the time. It's always wondering, where's that next meal going to come from? Where am I going to sleep? How am I going to provide for my children all the time?
Hunger doesn't look just one way. It's not just poor people, it's elderly people who want a fixed income. It's families with children. Single mom who works 2 jobs who just needs more food to get by. Or it's a single dad, or it's a married couple who one got sick and they got laid off. There's just no one face of hunger. Some of us who work full-time jobs can be one paycheck away from losing everything.
Catholic Charities is an organization that serves the community.
My first day, Miss Denise was able to go ahead and give me a tour, and I was just so happy to be there. But what I didn't know is that in the next 30 minutes, my life and the perception that I had of Catholic Charities was really gonna change. I'm getting... So I started doing the data entry, and in that point, the doors were opened, and I saw a mom walking in, and it was after the time where they were able to go ahead and do food donations. She had missed it by 30 minutes, and she was able to go have a conversation with Miss Denise, and she was able to go ahead and provide the help that she needed. That truly changed my life. I think at that point, I realized that I had been living in a bubble, and there was so much help that our community needed.
Catholic Charities has, as I mentioned, many programs, and one of those programs is pregnancy, and another program is adoption. Pregnancy program, it's a counselor that provides assistance and provides guidance, provides classes to women who are pregnant. Some of those women may keep their children, and they need that support, because many of them are first-time moms. We also have our adoption program. We are in connection with hospitals, not just in Gainesville, and we are lucky and fortunate enough to be the first on the list from the hospitals to receive a phone call when a safe haven baby is dropped off, either by the firefighters, police, or at the hospital.
We have an incredible mobile outreach program. This office here covers 5 counties: Alachua, Bradford, Dixie, Gilchrist, and Levy County.
Most of those counties are rural counties, are counties that would need to drive an hour to get to us. We go out to them. We have a financial literacy programs for those struggling to understand their finances and need to better plan for their future, especially in these times. We also have program that serves specifically just the hungry children in our community.
We have our Weekend Hunger Backpack program to solve that. We have students who can sign up for the program through their school or through their parent, letting them know there's a need.
We are able to provide them with some food for the weekend.
So when they come back to school Monday, they come back with their bellies full and ready to learn.
The program originally started with a little over 100 children. We now are in the upwards of 600 that we serve.
So it is the most incredible feeling when somebody either comes in for food or we've helped them with rent or utilities one time, and then sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's a few years, they come back and say, I'd like to make a donation. We're like, okay, great. And then they go to explain to you that we helped them when they were in their lowest, darkest place. And because of our help, they were able to get back on their feet, and now they want to help others. That is one of the most incredible feelings.
It's been a part of me my entire life, to serve, to be able to give back. I've been fortunate my entire life to always have a roof over my head, to always have bread on my table. But I know many don't. So it's important.
I want people to know that Catholic Charities is here. I want them to know what we do and who we help. And more importantly, I want that one person who's sitting out there in a room somewhere all by themselves, feeling alone and neglected and sad and nowhere to turn, that they're not alone, that there are people who care, there are people who are willing to help, and that all they have to do is pick up the phone and make that call. And I promise somebody will be there to help them. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of information about what Catholic Charity does. And I'm going to quickly go over the programs a little bit with a little bit more information. First of all, Catholic Charities is COA certified. That is an international certification program, sort of like what you would think of as a good housekeeping seal of approval. It says we're doing the best in providing our services and accountability and transparency with our financials. Our Client Service Center, for those who don't know, we're at 9th, on the corner of 9th and 16th, over by Howard Bishop Middle School and the Library Partnership. We serve, as you heard in the video, Alachua, Bradford, Dixie, Gilchrist, and Levy counties. And we are the premier social service provider in our area. Catholic Charities, actually, as a whole, there is a Catholic Charities in every single one of the United States of America. We are the second largest provider of social services outside of the federal government. We are each Catholic Charities is divided into dioceses. So we're part of the Diocese of St. Augustine. We have sister organizations, which are in Jacksonville, in St. Augustine, and in Lake City. Then other dioceses have theirs too, that have broken down according to what counties they're in. Though we all are technically under the same umbrella, we do things based on what is the particular need of our county. So in Gainesville, we have about a 23% poverty rate, and that's excluding the students at UF. So our programs are more based on helping people who are struggling financially. So whether that's providing them with food, providing them with help with rent or utilities. As most of you know who live in this area, we pay some of the highest rents, some of the highest utilities, but a lot of the jobs here are service industries, which are some of them among the lowest paying. So that creates a real problem for people who are trying to just scratch out a living. This again says that what we do, that we provide financial assistance, workforce development. That's our Bridges to Prosperity program that I'll go into more in a minute. And as Sabrina told you in our video, 95% of the people we serve are non-Catholic. On the other hand, about 90% of the people who donate to us are. We have been in Gainesville since 1975. We started out as a small building behind St. Augustine's Church, where we were just basically a small pantry and clothes closet. We've now grown into about 11,000 square foot facility where we house a variety of programs. These are our immediate need programs. We start off with our food pantry, and we provide rental assistance, help with mortgages, utilities. We can also do some help with prescription medication if it's needed. Then our food pantry, which also implies the rural outreach, which does the same thing as a food pantry does, but only it takes it out on the road. We provide things, not only food, but personal care items, hygiene products, dog food, cat food. We'll also do Easter baskets, Christmas gifts, things like that for people who struggle to get it into our community. There's a lot of pockets of poverty out there that people just don't see. For years, we would take bottled water to a small little place called Otter Creek. It's right on its way to Cedar Key. Well, they didn't have access to clean water. So we would take bottled water out to them every month so that they could have water to drink. It's hard to believe, but in this day and time, in our country, in our state, in our community, that people really did lack access to fresh water. And then our Weekend Hunger Backpack Program, which I already talked to you about. This provides food to children who teachers, guidance counselors refer to us based on the fact that they think they're facing food insecurity. We worked with the University of Florida and dietitians from there to try and find the best price point along with the best nutritional value to pack these backpacks. It cost us about $8 to pack a bag that feeds a child for the entire weekend. The kids have the backpacks. Well, now they're bags. Since COVID, we kind of switched over. It was a little easier to have bags go home because some of the kids, especially as they get older, it becomes awareness by their friends that the backpacks have food in it. And it was embarrassing to them. And sometimes they wouldn't take those backpacks home. Since we've switched over to bags, we've seemed to have alleviated that problem because now they can just put the bag in their backpack. And we send enough food home every weekend for every child in the family. Then these are our workplace developments and self-sufficiency classes. First of all, we have ESOL. ESOL is for people who do not speak English as their first language. And they come, the classes are free. And surprisingly, Pat, who's the instructor, only speaks English. The people in the classroom learn from each other. We're represented, I think, in 21 different countries now that we have people. Some join us via Zoom. So 21 different nationalities are in speaking different languages and all learning how to communicate together. And then we have our Bridges to Prosperity. Bridges to Prosperity started about 12 years ago. We do a great job feeding people and taking care of immediate needs. But you know the old saying, teach a man to fish and he can feed himself? That's what our Bridges to Prosperity program does. It looks at, first of all, helping people learn financial fitness skills. Things like how to balance a checkbook, how to avoid predatory lending, how to formulate a savings plan, how to just even rethink the way you spend money. Because a lot of times, especially in poor sections, they don't have access to like grocery stores like Publix. They have convenience stores everywhere, which everyone knows charges you a whole lot more than going to a big chain grocery store. Teaching them the things like stopping in the convenience store and spending $4 for a Diet Coke when you can go to the grocery store and get a 6-pack for the same price. So it's helping them relearn to think how they spend their money. The second part of that program then starts looking at the interpersonal relationship people have that keeps them in poverty. What's going on in their life? What skill sets are they not putting forth? What kind of things do they need to learn how to write a resume? Do they need to learn how to be able to speak? Do they need to learn how to dress? All these kinds of issues that help them stay kind of stuck where they are. And more importantly, how to learn to say no when somebody in your family is asking for you to put yourself in a point of jeopardy. When you have money, I need to borrow this for this. Can I borrow for that? And how to save that. And through that, we have an IDA, which is an individual development account program, where people can contribute, people who are in our Bridges to Prosperity program can contribute up to $15,000. We then match that $15,000 for them to be able to use for specific purposes, for better transportation, safer living conditions, education, continuing education, or for them to start their own business. And then from that, we've teamed them up with mentors who can help them achieve those kinds of goals. This is a really great program. Like I said, it's been around for about 12 years now. And we've had one of our graduates at 60 years old after taking our course and graduated from was able to purchase his first house. And then we have our Caring Choices and our pregnancy counseling program. Caring Choices helps women who are experiencing unintended pregnancy find the resources they need to make life-affirming decisions for themselves and their child. So we can give them things like parenting classes where they kind of earn money as they, well, kind of our baby bucks that they can then use to come in and they can purchase baby clothing, cribs, bassinets, strollers, car seats, things like that. If they decide that they don't want to raise their child, they would like to pursue the adoption option, we do it a little bit differently than most other agencies. A lot of agencies charge a whole lot of money up front, and it's kind of, if something goes left and it doesn't happen, we're sorry to all parties, but that's just kind of what happens. At Catholic Charities, we believe that the last adoption pays for the next one. So prospective parents will pay some of the legal work that they have to do, like for their home studies and things like that, but they don't actually finalize the adoption payments to us until after the child has been signed off and delivered. So that makes it a little bit nicer because they're not taking that kind of risk, and it opens it up to people who maybe don't have some of the resources other people have. And we're about 20-25% less than the traditional adoption agencies. Geraldine Ryan, who has been running this program for 25 years now, is retiring in April. Yeah, I know. We're going to miss her a lot, but we have Bree, who used to be with the program, is taking over her slot. That's a fabulous program. They actually do it for the entire diocese, so they serve 21 counties. And this is kind of a brief look at the numbers for what we did for our fiscal year last year. So in total, over 18,000 people came to us for services. And the way reporting is done like this is a little misleading because 18,000 one-time visits. So if you come back 10 times, you're not counted in that 18,000. That's 18,000 separate visits, not continual visits. And most people who are struggling with hunger is not a one-time thing. If they can't put food on the table 1 month, unless it's an unusual circumstance like an illness in the family or something like that, 10 to 1, they're struggling all along. So coming to us, we're able to help them just bridge that gap because most of the people that come to us are what we would consider the working poor, or as I'm sure Amber could tell you, what United Way considers the Alice group, the people that have income, but they don't have enough income. We, as you can see, we helped people, over 1,000 people avoid homelessness. We don't find homes for people. Grace Marketplace does that. We're more interested in stopping people from becoming homeless. So we do everything we can to help them, like catch up on their rent, catch up on their utilities, so that they don't have to go to the streets, because once they're unhoused, it's a whole lot harder to rehouse them than just to keep them in their house. We did about 555 children every week of the school year. We fed over 13,000 families and over 100,000 pounds of food. That's a lot. Our financial assistance, we did almost $1 million. The Holiday Joy, that is, we do almost like an angel tree. So we take in families, we interview them, and if they need help for the holidays, and it's a once in a lifetime thing. So if you've done it 1 year, you can't do it the next year. And you can either do Christmas or you can do Thanksgiving. So that's the amount of people we helped there. And then this year we've helped 14 babies find their forever families. So does anybody have any questions? Because that's kind of the biggest thing. Yes, sir. And there will be, in my former life, I was a teacher, but I promise there is no pop quiz.
Hi. I'm Eric Atria, and on October 21st of 2013, Geraldine Ryan called me and my wife and said to be at the hospital to pick up a three-day-old baby girl. And so we did. And so Catholic Charities means a lot to us. And I think you just said it, but I missed it. What is the annual average of babies that you're adopting in our community? Is my question to you.
It depends. We've had years where we've done, as small as 2 or 3. And then we've had years like last year, we did 18. So a lot of it depends. We're seeing a lot more of the safe haven babies. We have, largely because of Geraldine, we have a very good reputation in the community. So when a safe haven baby is delivered, the hospitals reach out to us first. So that's why we've seen this huge kind of jump in that. By and large, most of our pregnancy counseling program clients decide to parent.
Mike Conroy, thank you for the incredible job you do. I have brought individuals who are newly released from prison who had nowhere to go, and you guys helped them get set up in a household so they didn't end up on the streets and in trouble again. My question to you is, what is your immediate greatest pressing need that keeps you up at night?
Food, as simple as that is. For me, I have a large family. I have 4 children. My youngest son is 6'9". My grocery bill has tripled over the past couple of years. I'm lucky that both my husband and I have good jobs and we're able to provide for our families, but it breaks my heart to know that there are people who can't do that. And as a teacher, I had a personal experience once with a child who was in my classroom who she had been in another situation with another family, and she was now placed with a family that was adopting her, where food insecurity was a big problem. And now in 3rd grade, she would sneak out of the classroom, pretending to go to the bathroom, and go through other kids' backpacks to get food. So this is years later that still had an impact on her, and that I see that all the time. That's what scares me the most, is I know how food sources are scarce, that people are struggling food on their own tables, let alone have enough money to donate to us to help us feed others. But at the minimum, that's what I hope to accomplish, is finding a way to help us reach everybody who comes to our door and give them the food they need.
Craig Carter here. One thing you didn't mention with the adoptions, my wife and I were blessed enough to adopt 2 children a couple of years ago. And John sort of guided me through Catholic Charities, and they were instrumental on the home assessment and answering questions we didn't know. So that wasn't a stat up there. I was curious, how many times do you help families adopt outside the baby? We had 2 daughters now, and Catholic Charities came in and helped us quite a bit.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. How
often do you go in and help families? We had 2 children that we were sort of fostering. We decided to adopt them, and Catholic Charities came in and helped us with the assessment.
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
So those numbers are important too.
They are. We do a lot of just basic home studies. That's another side pit of what Geraldine does. And that number is much higher. That's, in the hundreds. And again, it's something that varies year to year. We currently have about 25 families on our waiting list. The longest, I think, has been on there about 1.5 years now. And the shortest has been on just a couple of months. It's just, adoption has changed a lot. My husband's adopted, and when he was adopted, mom and dad, his birth parents never knew anything about him. His adopting parents didn't know anything about his birth parents. It was all very hush-hush, very quiet, and almost treated in like a shame kind of blanket. Nowadays, it's very, very different. We do an adoption picnic every year, and we invite birth parents, adoptive parents, and extended family members to come together to get to know each other, because most adoptions are more open nowadays. So birth parents and adoptive parents have communication with one another. Besides just sharing health information, they actually kind of co-parent in a way together. And it's a really marvelous thing to see. Yes, sir.
Hi, what other items, like for instance, I see people that throw out car seats and cribs and things like that. Are those things that you could use?
We do take car seats as long as they're not expired, and we do take cribs. As long as they're not expired, they meet the safety standards. We also take things like personal care items and diapers, because that's something that diapers, believe it or not, are not covered under your your card that you can use for food stamps. They're not included, and diapers are very expensive. So we do things with diapers. We have formula. Like I said, we have pet food. So there's a lot of other things besides just basic food. We really try to be kind of all encompassing.
You mentioned food products, that you need food. What are the top 5 things, if we were going to donate, that you really need the most?
Canned soup, canned fruit, canned vegetables, peanut butter, and canned meats. Because all of those are things that are, first of all, we can feed families with, but we can also give out to the homeless population. Sure, canned soup, canned fruit, canned vegetables, peanut butter, and canned meats. And by canned meats, I mean things like canned tuna, sardines, canned chicken, those types of things. And we also, on kind of a side note, pop top cans. So things like the beefaroni that has the little pop top that you could give, those are really, that's great to have too, because that can go out to the homeless population and they don't have to cook that and they don't have to have a can opener.
Question from Zoom. Before I get to that, I will mention that a Catholic organization up north called my parents and told them I was available for adoption. So thank you.
It's wonderful.
So question from Jenny Van Hart was, do you partner with elder care to help with seniors?
We partner with every organization. We're great partners with United Way. We try to, that's one of the things that I think is the great thing about our community. There are a lot of nonprofits here doing a lot of good work. We don't try to reinvent the wheel. So if somebody's doing something better or has resources we don't have, we do referrals, and the same thing is reverses back. So yes, we do work with almost every agency that I can think of.
Quick follow-up to Jay's question I had. I know you accept food, beverages, and if so, what beverages do you accept?
We do accept beverages. Water, bottled water, it's always a great thing because the summer gets really hot. A lot of homeless people come in looking for bottles of water. That is also something we can take out into the rural communities. And also energy drinks. We don't really do soda. I tend to get some of that stuff left over from our fundraising events, and then we'll pass that out, but we don't encourage that per se. We'd really much rather do sports drinks and bottled water.
Hi, so do your financial donations, do they go a longer way than in like a product? I've worked with Bread of the Mighty before, and they've told me that financial donations, if they can get those, then they can go and buy in bulk at a cheaper price.
We can do that, and that's what I really try to encourage people if they're trying to donate food to the Weekend Hunger Backpack Program, because that food does have to be bought in bulk, simply because I can't send one bag home with, one set of snacks, then another bag home with another snacks, and then the kids compare and think who's got the better deal. So that's one thing we try to avoid, and it's cheaper to buy in bulk. But we're happy to take anything, and we're also very proud of the fact that Catholic Charities has one of the highest ratio of dollar to services. We're in the 87 to 89% rate. That means 87 to 89% of every dollar that comes into us is spent on programs. Now, as a person who's worked on a nonprofit a long time, I know people sometimes want to hear that, 100% goes. But if you're going to have a healthy organization, just like a healthy nonprofit business, you have to have staff on hand, you have to have people that you can rely on, and you have to be able to pay them a living wage. So if an agency is coming in and telling you they're doing 100%, you really need to take a hard look at what the infrastructure of that agency looks like. Because I can tell you from personal experience, you cannot do that. It does not last well for that agency. I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Anyone wanting to send checks? Catholic Charities of Gainesville, 1701 Northeast 9th Street, Gainesville. What's the zip code?
32609.
32609. I should know that.
Or our Catholic Charities Gainesville.org works just as well.
All right.
Or you can attend our gala, because April 5th is our 50th anniversary again of Catholic Charities, plus our Spirit of Charity Gala, which will be held at the Rights Union again this year. We usually have about 400 to 450 guests. We have the best live and silent auctions, I think, in Gainesville, mainly thanks to Mr. Cousins and Miss Marie, because they do a lot for us. But again, if you go to our website, you can find information about that. This year's theme is kind of a Mardi Gras / masquerade.
We have adopted 3 daughters. they're all sisters. We give money to the Catholic Charities every month. And it just turns out that based upon what we found out, not from our kids, but from another child who has 7 kids in their family. And you guys provided so much for them.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, other than other places that we went to, but you guys just provided everything in the world to them.
I'm glad to hear that. It's stories like that make me on those stressed out days glad that I do the job that I do. We had a few years ago, it's probably about 10 years now, at Christmas time, like I told you, we do Christmas gifts for families they can sign up for. But we had a gentleman come into our client service center. He was a younger guy. He was in his late 30s. His wife had passed away unexpectedly in a car accident. And now he went from a dual income family to a single income family in a nanosecond. And he was having trouble meeting his mortgage and meeting his utility bill. So we helped him out. And while he was in the office, our emergency assistance coordinator asked him, were you able to do anything for your girls? Because he had 2 little girls for Christmas. And he's just, at this point, I can't keep our lights on or keep a roof over our head, so no. So she thinking, well, I'm going to go into our pantry, because we do get personal care items, to see if maybe she could find some lotion, some shampoo, something, that she could put in a bag so they got something. So this is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. About that time, our answering service picks up because our pantry closes. But the phone in the pantry started ringing incessantly. Enough so that just almost out of sheer frustration, because it was now in the 10th ring, she reached over and picked it up. And a voice on the other end of it said, I know it's really late, but I work for a doctor's office. Do you have a family we could possibly adopt for the Christmas? Yeah. That's when you know you're doing the work you're supposed to be doing. So of course she said she pulled the phone away and stared at it like how can this be? They went out that night. The next day, that gentleman came in and we provided Christmas for his family. 5 years later, he wrote us the nicest note saying they're all doing well and how much he appreciated, because not only did we help him when we paid his utilities and helped his children, but we gave him a lifeline that made him feel like he could go on after the most devastating thing had happened to him. And we're only able to do that because people like you donate to us. Our silent, we have 2. We have a live auction and a silent auction. Our live auction has some really unique experiences on it. You can take a trip to Boston and see the Boston Red Sox play the Tampa Bay Rays. And I think it's July 11th, which is so you could kind of make a trip out of it, go there for the 4th of July and stay. And Boston on the 4th of July is a must-see life occasion. That is one of our trips. Then we have another trip where you can go to New York City and watch the Yankees and have a Yankee experience by actually dining in their Champions Club, which includes food and drinks, non-alcoholic, and great seats. Did she say 2 times on the thing? I'm not real sure. I think it's just 1 this time, but it's a round trip airfare, first class. No. And then we have you didn't answer my question, but no, just teasing you. So anyhow, we also have a private jet trip donated to us from University Air that will fly 2 people down to Key West, Florida. And if the weather's permissible, they usually also include a charter fishing day. So those are the things we have on our silent auction. It's true. Everything depends on how the bidding's going. And then we have, like I said, one of the Gainesville's premier silent auctions. We don't take in consignment items. So everything you bid on one of our auctions goes towards our programs. And as an added bonus, you don't even have to attend. You can go online, CatholicCharitiesGainesville.org, go to our event, click on the event website, and you can register to participate in our silent auction. Live auction, you do have to be there. Okay.
Hi, first I want to say thank you so much for everything that you do. Many years ago, I was a 19-year-old and I was newly single and a single parent. I found myself pregnant at 19. And Catholic Charities, among a couple of other organizations, saved my life. I mean, helped me with bills, helped me afford formula and diapers. And when I was pregnant and trying to decide what I wanted to do, the Baby Bucks program was a godsend because I was able to afford some of the things that I wouldn't have been able to as a college student with 3 jobs. So thank you so much for that. So I guess my question, we've heard from a couple of people how we can, donate checks and money. How can we help support that Baby Bucks program? Can we donate, onesies and diapers and wipes? How can we better support that program for moms that are in the situation that I was, where they just can't afford a step moving forward on their own?
Well, like you said, you can donate as long as they are still hired. Car seats, cribs, clothing. Really, we kind of stick with the newbornish type of clothing. And if you make a donation, a cash donation, if you write a check, just put it in the memo section for Cash for Babies or something like that, and then Baby Bucks. And then, or you could go on our website and do the same thing, and in the memo section, put to be used for the Caring Choices program. Because it is a great program, and when you go to the adoption picnic and you see how many happy families, it's just so heartwarming. Thank you.
Laurie, thank you so much for what you do for our community. Really appreciate you being our guest speaker today. And I'm really thankful that we're able to help Catholic Charities through our foundation. On your behalf, donation to Child Center for Early Learning.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being so nice. You asked some really good questions. Hey, boss.
A reminder for our speaker next week is R.D. Bonnigan with Rebuilding Together. We got a building day scheduled with them the first weekend in April, so glad that he's able to join us for that. Our quote for the week. Matthew, this one's for you. It always seems impossible until it's done. And that's Nelson Mandela. Our Rotary Reading Safari. Our Rotary Reading Safari drawing number is 808-808. With that, the meeting's adjourned.